3, 2, 1.
John, are we live?
We're live, sir.
How's it going?
Oh my goodness, it's been a fun 20 minutes or so.
Well, this is the first time I think we have 2 people on FaceTime with us and 2 people in studio. So kudos to you for getting it all linked up and making it work.
Yeah, well, let's not give kudos yet.
I've just been sitting here doing nothing, really. I'm going to jump before we'll do our shout outs after our first guest because they're coming to us from Nova Scotia, Canada, which is really cool. I think that's the furthest away guest we've ever had, maybe?
Yeah, I'll go with yes.
Yes, we'll go with yes. My geography's not perfect, but thank you guys. We have Denise and Tim Allison. They're a father and daughter duo. They're both entrepreneurs, again, in Nova Scotia. Off air, they were telling me they're in a smaller, sleepy fishing town, which is awesome. I love fishing. Maybe John and I will come up and do the show live with you guys at some point up there. Denise is a social media strategist and an entrepreneur. Tim is an author. He's a podcast host, and he's a business mentor. His businesses, his book, and his podcast are called Screw the Naysayers, which is a catchy, awesome name for all that stuff. Thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, our pleasure.
So I'll start, ladies first. I'll start with you, Denise. Tell me how you got into being an entrepreneur, how you got into the social media side of coaching and training entrepreneurs on social media.
Yeah, so I know you said we just had about 10 minutes, so I'll give you the short version. Basically, I moved back home to rural Nova Scotia. I had a master's in political science, and after a short term of working for government, I decided that it really wasn't the right fit for me because I didn't really have a lot of creative freedom. Things don't really happen as quickly as I wanted. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just have to start my own business and I'll do some research. But I quickly realized that if I was going to do that, I have to market my business. And so I had to learn how to market my business. I decided I was going to learn everything that I possibly could about social media marketing. I tried things, I see what worked and what didn't. And in the process of doing that, really what happened is people started to take notice and they didn't want to hire me to do research. They wanted to hire me to actually help them out with their own social media. So it became kind of clear to me that that was where my business should go and where the future of my business was. So I just went, probably 3 years ago, I went all in with exclusively doing social media. So I do a lot of social media training and advising and helping people create really great content that opens up conversations and builds relationships with their potential customers.
It's so important for any business nowadays to really be able to tell a story about themselves and do it effectively because social media is, it's saturated. There's a lot of people on there. So to be able to set yourself apart from every other new business or like me in real estate, there's a million realtors here in Chicago. How do you get that story effectively? And I think what you're doing is fantastic. And I tell business owners all the time, let the chef do the cooking. If somebody knows what they're doing on social media, you should probably hire somebody to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's like this funny thing happens when people get on social media where they forget how to interact as a human, but it's really just an extension of your offline interactions and communication. It's happening in a different place than we're used to or that happened in the past, but still treating people like they're people, starting conversations in a normal, natural way as much as you can, and really going about it that way and caring about people.
And have you found that obviously social media is evolving so rapidly, you just have to stay on the forefront of that stuff? Because LinkedIn recently is getting a huge push and a makeover, and Instagram and Facebook ads now are changing quite a bit.
The tech part changes, the algorithms change, but the underlying foundation here and the underlying philosophy that people connect with people and people relate to stories, that's never really going to change. So as much as there's little changes, little nuances, and like, oh, look, you can post videos to Instagram and you can go live on LinkedIn, those are really minor changes in the bigger picture of how we connect and how we do business with people.
I love that, because the core values of what you're coaching and training these people to do kind of remains the same. Just the platform is evolving a little bit. So if somebody is starting a business, let's say they're a newer business, what's your give them a tip or two, or however many you want to give them on improving their social media presence, or at least launching their social media presence effectively?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many layers to this that if I shared with somebody who's just starting what I would do, or what someone who's a bit more established would do, it's a lot. But if you were just getting started with your social media, I find the best place to start is by sharing your expertise and sharing some value with people. So saying, I'm an expert in this. I'm an expert in real estate, for example, and just sharing advice and tips with that. That's the easiest way to get going. And then once you're doing that consistently a couple times a week, then what you're going to want to start doing is making sure that you are infusing your personality and your voice into that. And I would say those are kind of the two pillars that you want to start out with.
Fantastic. And I want to bring Dad in here for a second. We were talking off air a little bit about how awesome it is that you got to grow up around another entrepreneur who and Tim, I'll let you tell the story, but I'll summarize it. You left a successful sales job and then moved up to Nova Scotia and opened your own businesses. How was it? And I'll ask Denise, growing up around a real entrepreneur, and have you taken a lot from the fact that your dad is a very successful entrepreneur?
Well, he seems to think that I remember him working a lot and coming home late. But how I remember it is sitting at our cabin at the lake, and all of the husbands being working and him being there on his laptop. But I suppose you remember the good times more than you might remember the struggles. But it's just really interesting that it just helps it become more of an option for you. My friends who are in families that there are no business owners, they don't really see it as a viable option. They don't know what's involved. They don't know how challenging it's going to be. And if they would say, hey, I'm going to start my own business, the reaction they would get would be much different than I got.
Yeah, your dad would say, screw the naysayers.
Yeah.
Start the business. Yeah. So, Tim, tell us about Screw the Naysayers, and tell us your story of how you got you left your job to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, well, it's the short version on that is that I was really, in my late 20s, early 30s, guys. I was the poster child for what success was supposed to look like. I was just rocketing up the corporate ladder. I was in sales manager position with sales staff that were like 15, 20 years older than me. I was making insane amounts of money for that stage of my life, and this was 30 years ago. It still would be a big amount of money now. It was crazy. I was in the top 2% of wage earners in Canada before I was 30 years old, and so from the outside looking in, everything's wonderful. But the stress that what came along with people paying me that much money, I was an absent parent. I now had 2 kids, so I was never seeing them. I had substance abuse, in my case, alcohol issues that I was dealing with because of the stress, or at least that was my way of dealing with the stress. And, I've often said I think I would have been dead or divorced within 4 or 5 years hadn't I quit. So, I did quit, and I was pining away to come back to this little fishing village, which is where Denise's mom, where my wife's from. And it's just the middle of nowhere. And for people, these hands are not very big. And I was not cut out to work on a fishing boat or in the woods. And honestly, then, even to a large extent now, most of the men that are here are working in those kind of great jobs, hard-working jobs. It's just, it's not me. So I had to make my own job. And the naysayers comes along because, and the way I kind of remember it, I call them naysayers because, boy, did people laugh at me. I mean, I was the worst part, Mo, I was made to feel guilty. People told me I was an irresponsible parent to give up that kind of income and to put my family's financial health at risk and everything, when in fact everything I was doing was to be present as a parent, and a better husband and all that kind of stuff. But I kind of ignored it, and they more or less stopped laughing when that software company with sales hit about 10 million. And I don't say that to boast. I've been out of that business for a dozen years now. The thing I'm proudest of is that I created a career around the life I wanted to live. So my message to people is design your life and then figure out where whatever you're good at fits into it. And my back was against the wall, just like many ways Denise. If she wanted to stay here and have meaningful, challenging work that had the potential to be really well paid and give her the independence to do what we wanted to do, it's the same thing with me. So it's, that's really been the story of it. And at my 60th birthday, I was on the verge of just saying, maybe it's just time to go camping full time and go lie on the beach. And that lasted for about 3 weeks. And I don't know where the idea, but the idea came into my mind. I should write a book. I wrote Screw the Naysayers, and I started sharing it with a lot of young people. And boy, they were, because it's a very sarcastic look at what all the messaging parents are telling their kids these days. Parents won't like it very much because it's a mirror on how stupid we can be. And one thing led to, then to this day I can't tell you, but someone said you should start a podcast. And my life just changed. This whole Screw the Naysayers, there's just something about the genre, the name. I have attracted a following that's global. I've attracted such a crazy mix of inspiring people that have overcome insane amounts of adversity. It makes what I've had to face seem like nothing, the people I'm getting on this show. And it's been the best professional development experience of my entire life. And I'm now at 61, but I mean, in what world does a guy like me get 45 minutes to ask Seth Godin any question in the world I want to ask?
It's incredible.
So it's just once again, but I feel like I'm doing the same thing that Denise is doing now. People still ask her, like, you can make money doing that? They wouldn't ask you that in the city. But in the country, they just look at her and think, and it's the same thing here. It was the same way when I started my software business, when nobody, they thought I sold computers. If somebody asked, what do you do? They would have just said, well, he's the guy who sells computers.
Yeah, and a lot of my friends, they say, so what do you do again? Well, like locally. And to me, it's obvious. Like, I help businesses with their social media. It seems pretty straightforward, but they have a hard time grasping that, I suppose.
Well, Tim, you have that term, you're the world's first defiantpreneur, which I love that term that you coined. And it seems like, at least locally, you guys are defying what I guess to the person there, an entrepreneur would be. You're kind of defying the odds of what a normal entrepreneur is a little bit.
I really have embraced the word defy, and I don't use it in a way of like anarchistic or something like that. But, in this day and age, I mean, I don't want to get into the whole backstory, but the reality is, if somebody tells me I can't do something, the analysis that I'm going to go through, the first question is, what is the probability of me ending up in the hospital with multiple broken bones? Because I've had that experience, and I don't like it. I would rather not repeat it, But if I don't have a risk of physical harm, then the more somebody tells me it's a dumb idea, it'll never work or something, the more tempted I get to just say, well, and I want to emphasize, some people say that they use like the chip on the shoulder as enemy to prove, something to prove people wrong. And that's not me. I don't care. I don't need that external motivation, but it just challenges me to think, well, people think that's hard. Why don't I see because the most growth that I ever see, whether it's me, Denise, you, anybody else, if we really inspect our life, growth happens when we defy conventional wisdom, when we try in your industry and or your industries, but in real estate, for example, I'm sure your guests would be able to relate to this. If everybody's just doing things the same old, there's no way to differentiate yourself. There's nothing different about what you do. You don't prosper. You have to bring an attitude that I'm going to be unique. That this is the only place you can get this kind of service is if you come, and you get that by just not accepting. If somebody says, well, it's always been done this way, or you can't do that in a rural community, it's not true anymore. 30 years ago, it was a lot tougher. We all have internet. We're talking to you.
Yeah, we're talking to each other and it's crystal clear. John, you did a good job on the feed here. He's giving me a thumbs up from the back. How do we order your book? Amazon? Because I'm going to go home and I'm going to order it today. I'm a big reader, and I have a feeling after meeting you virtually here that it's going to be a book that's right up my alley and very motivational.
I hope you enjoy it. It's short, it's fun. You can read it in an hour and a half, and I think you will see yourself in parts of this book. I mean, the thing is that I actually wrote a book about 10 or 12 years ago about the experience, and I look back at it now, and I realize that was sort of a hero's journey. I was trying to talk about how smart I was and everything. It wasn't the truth, This time around, what I did is I looked for, well, what were the hard parts? So I'm not one of these guys that says money is not important. I kind of like money a lot.
Me too.
I won't sell my soul for it, but I wanted to make the money to travel the world, for example, and to do these kind of things. So I talk about the fact that it's not easy to quit a high-paying corporate job and walk away from it. Anybody who says it's easy has never done it. You know, right. I mean, and it's not easy to start a business. I go wild on all these people that are saying, you know, that you can start a business, work 2 hours a week, go golfing all the time. She's right. We spent our summers. I set my business up so I worked much harder between September and June. July and August were slower times, and I would bring my laptop, and I'm really going to date myself. My first cell phone, I had to plug it into the cigarette lighter in my car and put the battery pack on the roof with the antenna to get a signal back at the lake. But I'd be sitting there having a beer, talking to some VP at some corporate place, you know, having this corporate conversation. I mean, that's the kind of stuff. And she was quite athletic and into soccer and the arts and everything. Her brother was into hockey. There you go.
See the guns.
She's still a comedian. You got to get her to talk about her career. But you know what? I mean, how do you put a price tag on that? Being present to do that.
Yeah.
But I was working at night sometimes at 10 o'clock at night because once I'd finished that stuff, I went and did this stuff. And but I think to sort of close the circle on her and I, it is the difference in having somebody that's in your family that gets you. The biggest barrier for 99% of the people that are trying to start business like that is their ability to believe it's possible. You just don't. If everybody tells you that you can't do it, it's really hard. We're preconditioned to assume that we can't get what we want in life, which is a darn shame. You know, so as soon as somebody says, or even when she looks, well, if he can do it, and she is a lot smarter than me. I make no bones of it. She's smarter, you know, and more educated than I ever was. So, you know, that's why we just need to, for the young people that are out there, because look, we're in a gig economy. 1 out of 2 jobs in the United States, you know, starting next year is going to be in that gig economy.
Yep.
And our education system, we don't have time to go down that rabbit hole very far, but it's simply not prepared people for those jobs.
No, not at all.
And so we have an obligation. Those of us that have started businesses have an obligation to get really vocal about telling these people to not let the fear of failure to get in the way. And to, yeah, you're going to scrape your knee, and hopefully your parents let you scrape your knee when you're a kid, but even if they did, you know,
scrape it now.
Your situation doesn't define where you need to end up, and you don't have to stay in that. I don't know what the language policy is, but
you can say whatever you want on this show.
You don't need to stay in a shithole job that you hate.
Right.
Your entire life. Like, I get so sad when I see people 45 years of age and they're already counting down the days until retirement. Like, come on. Like,
yeah, you got one life to live.
One run through here.
Yeah, you get one run through.
So don't, you know. But we're telling people that that's just what life is. It's not. It's what other people want you to believe, or because they've settled, they don't want to see you succeed more than them because it makes them feel inferior. And I get that all the time.
Tim, how does somebody watch your podcast and also order the book on Amazon? I'm guessing, and how do they just go to screwthenaysayers.com?
Yeah, you can nail it all there. The book's on Amazon, of course.
Okay.
You can nail it. The podcast is out 3 times a week. And,
3 times a week?
Wow. We got to step up.
Spotify and everything.
All the regular places.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to tune in. I mean, your motivational side of you is infectious, and I feel like all I do is watch and listen to podcasts now. I feel like a couple times a week listening to you is a gigantic dose of motivation. It really is. And I've been on your website. I looked on your site. I would tell anybody who's listening or watching, check out his website. It is a great dose of motivation. And what I love about what you get across is it's your story, and it's a very raw, true story. You're not BSing anybody. You're telling your story, and then you're teaching them all the lessons that you've learned. So I love it. And honestly, John, we got to have them back on. And
absolutely.
Now that we are good at this FaceTime thing, we might just have to do a full show with you two. Yeah. Because I feel bad that it's a shorter segment here, because I mean, I could probably speak to you for a couple hours. And Denise, where can we find you if somebody wants to reach out to you for some help?
Yeah, you can find me on social media. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search Denise Allison, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and that's at Social Denise. I do a live show every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Atlantic, which I think is 8 there. If
okay.
you want to get it with your coffee and drink it.
Where is it? Where does it go live?
On Facebook.
On Facebook. Okay, perfect.
Beautiful.
So we'll have to follow you and watch along.
What's that?
We'll have to follow you and watch along as well.
Absolutely. It's called the Art of Online Marketing Live Show.
Very cool. I'm going to make these two guys in studio watch along too.
She's been doing that for more than 2 years now, too.
Awesome.
Like, every week
Almost
getting
three.
up and doing that. And I'm telling you, I mean, it's, as you know what it's like, it's the discipline that's required to do that. And,
With any business, it's consistency. Consistency is
Yeah.
the most difficult part of business, I think.
Yeah.
if I can throw her another
Yeah.
bit of credit, when people get
Of
over
course.
to my website or if they see any of my social media content, it's a bit of a secret, but I do have an in-house social
media
media
manager.
strategist who's helping me with most of that stuff. So
That's awesome.
credit to her for all of that stuff. Credit to me for the guests and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I love how much you two collaborate, and I can just tell how beneficial it is for both of you to be entrepreneurs helping one another out, and it's awesome to watch. And I thank you guys for coming on. John, honestly, we got to do now that we have this FaceTime from afar figured out, we got to have you guys back on. Please come back on
We love it.
for a
Absolutely.
full hour. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye now. Ooh,
That was awesome.
Fantastic.
They can still see me, though, John, I think.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
still
they
on?
can. All right.
So for those of you who can't see the studio, I'm FaceTiming them, so I'm looking at them and kind of chatting with them. And when we went off air, they could still see me. But that was awesome. I really do urge you guys to go take a look at Screw the Naysayers and follow Denise, obviously. Check out his website. I was on it yesterday just looking around and listening to his videos and kind of just watching things about Tim's story. And it's really incredible. He's a really motivational guy that's done some incredible, incredible things. So we got to have him back on.
Indeed. That, 20 minutes?
Yeah,
25 minutes?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And
that
I'm
was
excited
cool.
because these are in-house. We'll do shout-outs, I think, next time.
Yeah.
You want to do that next time? Since-
Yeah. We're deep in the show
Yeah,
already.
We'll do our shout-outs next time.
Real
because
quick, though, what's 4th of July? How was it?
It was good. Yeah,
Good.
very good. Low-key
right.
for me. Not like you. How about you?
It was good.
You went to Vegas, so not so
I was
low-key.
in Vegas, yeah. A couple days. It was very fun. Flew back in the night of the 3rd and got to see a bunch of fireworks going off from up top. That was
Yeah,
kind of
from the
cool.
plane.
So
Yeah,
but
because you're going to be celebrating your 80th birthday soon out there, so you were setting up for
No. 50.
50.
50, yes.
that. I was off by a little bit.
A little bit. I would invite you, but I don't know if you could see over the bar to get a beer. So
damn it.
I could just hand them down to you.
I'll get up on your shoulders. A little piggyback ride.
Oh, no. How much weight since the weight loss
About 20
challenge?
pounds. You got old brittle bones now. That's true. You can't keep me.
Oh,
Can't hold me
man.
up.
All right, here we go. All right, let's get into the
Anyways,
show.
yeah, let's get into our show. So the next two guests on our show are, the first guy, Nick Nastos, is a lot of people see me hashtag Mostos. He's the other half of the Mostos hashtag. Nick Nastos, who's the founder of the Chicago Property Shop, a good buddy of mine. He was the president of the YPN board when they took me on the board. Finally, actually, you were the past president.
I was a past.
Past president. The year you were the president, Erica rejected me.
Correct.
That's right. I was kicked out
You
that
didn't,
year.
you didn't go to
I
enough
make
events
it.
to qualify.
But thank you for coming on.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
You're also Pearl Jam's #1 fan.
Not number one. No, there's a couple other people ahead of me.
You're number one.
Maybe.
You're my
You're maybe to you. I'm
to
your
me
nu-
for sure.
That's
for
a
my
definite.
group of friends, you're my
Yeah.
Pearl Jam #1 fan.
Yeah,
Tommy
good.
Choi maybe #2.
He's got me by 10 shows, so it's good.
10 shows. He killed me on those.
Yeah,
Who Wore
so-
It Better poll that you put up too.
Yeah, that was entertaining.
I'll
I think
end
I
up-
should do that more often in real estate because a lot
I'll-
of people wear the same stuff. They shop the same places, so you probably find some similar outfits, if you will.
I thought there's no way somebody was wearing something similar to me because I tried to make
It was a
outrageous.
unique pattern compared to you're right, exactly. But
Good old Tommy. Hey, listen, if I'm gonna get shown up,
that's the guy.
that's the guy who
That's the
who
guy.
needs to show me up is
That's
Tommy
the guy.
Choi.
You're right.
I'll introduce John too because I think this will turn into quite
Combo,
a bit of a
yeah.
round table between you two.
Do it.
Our other guest is another Chicago property shop real estate killer, John Floros. He is the resident best hair at Chicago Property Shop for sure.
Get out of here.
What's up, buddy?
Not much. How are you?
Good. How are
Thanks
you?
for having us. Good. Not bad.
I'll ask both of you because you guys have recently made the switch from Nick
being
you-
my own brokerage to joining another brokerage. So being a
Yes.
team underneath the bigger umbrella, I guess.
So you opened Chicago Property Shop in
2009, April of 09.
Okay, so a decade
10
now.
years, yeah.
And what made you do that as your own brokerage to start off? Because that's
So-
scary.
Yeah, so I was in mortgages at the time. So 2008, you know what happened there. Obviously 2008 happened, and then I started doing some rentals, working for another company, and they were just posting ads on Craigslist. So I'm like, I could do this and make 100% commission.
Yeah.
In my brain, that's what I thought. So I did it. My dad had his broker's license already at that point. It was broker and agent license, so it was kind of a quick transition.
Right.
So we did it, and then I started my own thing, and taught my parents how to use a computer by posting ads on Craigslist. Gave my mom a laptop. She's watched her Food Network, Home and Garden channel, and then my dad's downstairs on the desktop, just like clicking away.
I never knew
Show.
that.
Yeah.
I never knew you
Yeah.
had mom and dad helping actually.
Yeah,
post
they
on
were my
Craigslist.
assistants.
And you guys had a kick butt website. I mean, it's like for those of you in real estate, Nick's website's fantastic. You guys produce a lot of leads off your website, but you were doing that way before anybody was thinking, "Oh my God, I need my website to start producing leads."
Yeah, so I started doing that. Another agent kind of got me started on that. And, his name's Ted, and he had a website similar to that, and he's like, you should do something similar. So I did that, and that was about 2012. So that wasn't so much SEO game, if you will, wasn't so as competitive as it is now.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier. But you know, it's a marathon. You're not gonna like get a website, make it look nice and flashy, and all of a sudden like people are gonna start like clicking and like asking you questions and stuff. So 2-3 years down the road after that, that's when like the leads started spiking like upward. Now it's just kind of been a consistent kind of thing as things start changing and stuff. So kind of adapt to the environment, I guess.
And what made you want to go to say, hey, you know what? I just want to because I'm going to premise this by saying I recommend to a lot of people to do what you did now is just focus on being a team lead because you're a business with your business still, and you let a company just go and worry about all the rest of the crap.
Exactly. So that was the main thing. So I was kind of like in a gray area. I was kind of okay, cool. Like John was at that point on board a couple years at that point. So I kind of liked what was going on. I liked the dynamic between me and John. It was like another guy that just liked the business as much as I did, which I didn't have that since 2009 all the way up to whenever he started. So TJ, owner of Fulton Grace, reached out to me about an opportunity. He's like, hey, would you want to come on board? I thought about it. It took me like probably 3-4 weeks. And I said, you know what? This would be perfect because we were sitting here stuffing our own envelopes to try to send to clients, hundreds of them. That took time away from our business, right? So now we have the support, marketing, accounting department, this, that, and the other, you name it. Like now we just focus on our business, and that's why our business grew. I think I attribute that is because of that, right? Now like we could just focus, and there's no more of the other stuff that we have to do.
Yeah, it's interesting because I tell a lot of real estate brokers and teams, opening a real estate brokerage is no easy task.
It isn't.
And you got to do a lot of bullshit that takes you away from just being really good realtors.
Yeah.
And you guys are killing it the last couple of years. I mean, you guys are just...
Yeah, I think we've fine-tuned our systems because we have time to look at them now, right? And kind of look at them and go back and see what we did wrong and then and what we can fix. So before I was the janitor, I was the assistant, I was the accounting department, I was everything. I got agents coming in the office, did the mailman come yet? Where's the check? I don't have to do that anymore. Now it's like email accounting, email marketing. They just take care of it for us, which is great. So that was the support is what we were lacking to get us to the next level, if you will.
Yeah.
So, and when I did it, there was a bunch of people obviously like, what are you doing? You're selling yourself out. It's 100% commission. I says, no, it's not. I got office rent, insurance, business insurance, all this other garbage I have to pay. Definitely not 100%. I probably get paid a lot less, and you don't have all those problems that I have. So
I love when people say that I'm going to go open a brokerage and take 100%. I'm like, good effing luck.
Yeah.
You don't have a damn clue about the 100%.
For
Doesn't
sure.
happen.
For sure.
And when you brought John on, and I'm going to bring John on now.
Do you want to know how John came on board?
Yeah, tell me how John came on
So-
board. I'll hear your story and then his. It might be very,
No, it's the
might be
exact same
totally
story.
It'll
different.
probably be exactly the same.
He'll tell you what happened. No, but John actually. So my wife Joanna, which you knew before
Yes.
me.
Little story. John Lally
John,
might not know.
gotcha.
I've known his wife longer than I've known him. I went to college with her, and then randomly at a
Really?
YPN event.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
know that either.
Oh,
you have
see?
a bunch of Johns
Look
in
at
there.
this. Breaking news.
But yeah, I saw them together at a I think it was Casino Royale.
Casino Royale.
I was like, Joanna. She's like, no. And John, I think, was looking like, how the hell do you two know each other? And I'm like, went to college together.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Very good.
I've known his beautiful wife for
A while, and
15
then
years
so Joanna was actually John's sister's maid of honor, and that's how John
maid of honor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Deal. Got it.
got it.
I have to slowly think that one through.
Yeah, so that's how I met John. He was getting. You can go that story. But
yeah. I mean, I was getting licensed. I was working in the hospitality industry, and I was like, I'm going to get licensed, and then I'll go interview with all the big companies. And at that time, my sister's like, hey, you should talk to Joanna's boyfriend. I had met Nick in passing, didn't really know him well. I'm like, he's a broker? They're like, yeah, he's got his own company. I'm like, okay, I'd rather go meet with someone I know first rather than go explore the real estate world with people I don't know. So we did what most people do, just go grab a beer and chat and just kind of like picked his brain about the industry. And he kind of opened up my eyes to like, you could start part-time. There's rentals. I always thought real estate was only sales. I didn't think anybody would make money in rentals. And that kind of gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I could do it part-time because, I didn't know 100% commission. I never worked a job like that. I'm like, I should ease my way in, get a feel for the business. And it was a great fit. We got along, and, having a website was a great thing for a new agent to have leads coming in, because we know you have your 7 steps to lead generation, and you've coached us before with that stuff. It's hard. So it was a great experience for me to start with Nick. And obviously some of the growing pains we had, like Nick told you, is I'm sitting here trying to learn MailChimp. I could barely turn my Facebook live, and I'm sitting here trying to do.
He really couldn't turn his
earlier.
Facebook live on. For those of you that are watching and didn't see him earlier,
I'm like, I'm not in this to be in marketing in terms of like doing things like that. And that's where like me and Nick were like, do we need help? I keep getting all these emails from other agents, and I'm trying to craft up the same thing that this big company, whether it be an at or whoever it is, I'm like, we need some support, and in order for us to grow, we'll have to make some kind of jump at some point. So things kind of really panned out.
What I love about you two as well is your personalities are such a good match. If somebody, I know you two, I've been out with you two, but for people who are watching, if you go and check out their page and their individual pages, you guys had a really cool vlog. So it was one of the best real estate vlogs out there. Matt does.
He's great.
A really good one.
Does.
You guys do a really good one. Some people do some really poorly done ones, but you guys had a really nice one done, and your personalities are just perfect together. It's like you two have known each other for 30 years, not
5
or 6 years. Yeah.
I mean, being in a small office at that point, just me, it was basically just me, him, and the assistant. So like that helped, that kind of like connection or whatever you want to call it, like kind of show on camera, I guess, if you will. So yeah, I guess it's been interesting. You
know what else I love that you told him he could do, or that John could do, is start part-time. Because one of the things that I feel happens in the real estate world is, and I interview a lot of new realtors, people say, oh, you got to start real estate full-time. And what you said kind of is the fear point for any entrepreneur at all, set aside real estate, is, okay, now I don't have any paycheck, I have no money coming in, and I have to rely 100% on commission. I think, and some realtors might look at me and say, well, or some real estate broker owners might call me an a-hole for saying this. I think that anybody, and John just gave me a look, but yeah, I think they don't want to take part-time agents because they don't want to coach and train part-time agents between the hours of 5 p.m. to later at night and on weekends. They only have staff from 9 to 5, and they don't want to have to humor them afterwards. Because for a business owner, if you can start off part-time in real estate and get your feet wet and learn what you need to do while having the comfort of having some income come in and then transition to full-time, I think that's the smartest way to do it.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I mean, if you have another job part-time, you could fuel the income from that job for marketing dollars into the real estate job. So for me, my motivation was to quit the job that I had. So I worked extra hard in real estate. I did the weekends, nights. I'd use personal days, sick days.
Tell them what you were doing for real, though. There's some good stories about what you did.
Yeah, I mean, I was always super motivated, and there was full-time agents Nick had at that point, and I wanted to beat them as a part-time agent and throw it in their face. And hopefully that would motivate them too. Some it did, some it didn't. But Nick would pass a lead, and I'd get a notification on my phone. So I was a banquet server. I worked for the Hilton. I was in hospitality. I did management. So, I basically would get a lead, and I wanted to call it or email it or text it. So I would excuse myself and say I had to go to the bathroom number 2. And no one could bother you in the stall. I would sit there.
Just make calls.
Just make a call, shoot a text. There's privacy laws. And I did what I had to do in order to contact that. I didn't want to disappoint Nick and not him giving me any more leads because John's not accessible. So when there's a will, there's a way. You could get things to happen. I'm not saying get yourself in trouble, but just be smart about it. And, having bowel problems is the way to go.
Listen to me. I'm going to snippet this out, and I'm going to show it on our office's closed group page.
You should.
Because when we hand out leads and people say they cannot take the lead, they can't call them back, because leads that come in, you got to respond to them immediately.
Right.
I'm going to say, listen, this is John Floros. He's a top producing realtor. He would excuse himself to go take a poop and call them right away
Correct.
while he was in the middle of a job. If you guys have time to call a lead and you're not, be John Floros.
And his job is like at that point was super demanding. Like he was working like 6 a.m. to like midnight, like the 2 shifts, the morning to lunch to dinner type stuff. So like he made time. I love telling that story. I love hearing it because I always tell basically that reason, right?
Well, the thing with you two, I think that stands out from a lot of realtors, and we've worked. My law firm's worked with both of you quite a bit,
Oh, yeah.
and I know Tim and Ali will say this about you two, not because you're on WheelHouse and we're saying this, but you truly, you guys are so on top of working hard for your clients that for sure we can tell translates into that lead generation, to following up and doing all the stuff that we don't get to see before we get a file.
Right.
But watching you guys take something that's already under contract, because a lot of realtors, when something goes on contract, they're like, oh, my job's done, I got it under contract. Forget it. You guys take it 10 steps further than that, and you guys are constantly putting effort in, which is fantastic. And John, that work ethic that you had definitely transferred over. And Nick, you're a business owner, so for sure your work ethic is
definitely.
So kudos to you guys. I love the growth you guys have had.
Thanks.
And we appreciate. I mean, Tim started with us. I would call that guy and nag that guy.
10 o'clock at night. I mean,
I'm
don't say that out loud because some people start calling him at 10 o'clock. But
No, they already know to call us at 10 o'clock. They bug us till midnight.
No, you
usually.
guys taught us a lot in the beginning.
For
I didn't
sure.
know stuff about half the inspections and everything, and I would just, Nick's like, use your attorneys as a crutch, because there were some things that we both needed to lean on you guys for. So
and it was great. I mean,
definitely
we did a lot of like 3-way phone calls, right? So then that was our way to learn what Tim would say on the other end that we couldn't hear. So it was kind of cool for us starting off because, again, starting your own company, I'm basically was just myself. So my first deal, I had nobody to fall back on to ask. I wasn't working for a big brokerage or anything. So that was great, just kind of learning on the fly, basically.
Well, I mean, I feel you. I remember when I opened my own law firm, I didn't know how to litigate. So my first several hearings,
I'm sure.
I literally would just go to court the day before my hearing. I'd put on a suit so they wouldn't think like, why is this guy like just showing up here randomly? And I'd pretend like I have a case in that courtroom, and I would just sit there and take notes and like watch everybody else, watch what they're doing, and then the next day go and replicate that. My earliest clients, a couple of them are my Facebook friends. They're like, we paid you to go do that? You idiot. Like, you didn't know what you were doing? But no, I had to self-teach myself. And Nick, you got really involved with CAR, which was awesome.
A long time ago.
A long time ago. But you're, I think, the longest lasting YPN board member of all time.
7 years, I think,
7
of like
years.
the 12 in existence.
Is that why you got
Something, I don't
14 T-shirts from YPN? Or?
know. Yes, 11 of them don't fit.
Well, actually, almost none of them fit me now. John's right. I
Yeah,
gained
but
some weight
instead of
that.
getting a large, you get a medium. You'd get a smaller, between small and medium. That's show the biceps off.
Nick was known for every year being the most excited guy at the beginning of the year when they would give us new T-shirts.
Yeah.
For him to get another
Yeah.
YPN T-shirt.
Yeah, I mean, they just called me to do a last month. I did a YPN breakfast thing. And the first thing I said is, I gotta get a T-shirt for this.
Yeah.
So, that's it.
That's right. You were on a panel last month.
Last
Congratulations.
month. Thank you. That was fun. It
That
was
was
fun
cool.
doing the opposite. Normally I'm on this, in the seats watching the panelists. It was kind of cool being on the other side.
Or presenting as
or
president.
present, or like a moderator type thing. Yeah, so it was kind of cool being on that end. It's just kind of cool, just starting from like nothing, basically Craigslist. Next thing you know, like you're being called on to like talk to some of the newer agents like yourself back then. So it's kind of a cool experience for me.
There's Bill Gates has a great quote that Tony Robbins kind of uses sometimes too. And it says everybody overestimates what they can achieve in a year and they underestimate what they can achieve in a decade. And it's a great quote because you're basically 10 years in now.
Yeah, 10.
And look where you guys are at. You guys are top producers. You guys are killing it. Your team has grown because it's more than just the two of you, right? How many? Of you guys
Yes,
are
total of 9.
Whoa! I didn't even know there was that many
Yeah,
of you now.
admin, and then me, John, and then like probably about 5 more.
Good for you. You guys grew a lot in the last year and a half or so.
There were some part-time people. There were some, full-time people. And then there were some people that were kind of in John's shoes where they had a full-time job and then, came on board, just, quit and did their thing. So it was kind of a mixture of everything. But it's cool. It's been a cool experience this year, I think, from last year. I think some of the agents from last year have done a lot better this year. Just maybe, obviously being in the business longer, learning from some of our mistakes that me and John have made over the past that we try to, like, tell them, look out for this or do something like that. So change some stuff up. It's nice.
What do you guys think about the real estate market this year? Nick, I'll go with you.
Oh, I was going to go John first because he's got heated stuff to say about it.
Yeah, John, go heated.
No, I mean, not really
I'm
heated.
happy to hear heated.
No, I mean, well, yeah, definitely. I think last year, I mean, you could hear anyone from like Matt Laircy saying the market was great last year. It's still good this year. I found myself more on the seller side this year. So
Yeah.
I've been full-time in real estate now. This is my third year. First 2 years I was part-time. I was doing a few rentals. So having listings is a little bit more new to me. I've had listings in my first 2 years, but I'm heavier on the listing side. So for me, seeing that, depending where your listing's at and what price point it's at, things aren't moving as fast as they were last year. I mean, you still see the multiple offers in a day or two. But I think now as brokers, we were a little spoiled the last few years. Things were selling quick. Now you're doing price adjustments. You got to work a little harder. So I'm seeing that, which is not, I don't have no problem working hard, but, I feel like I always tell Nick, I was like, I need more buyers. I kind of want to be on the other side of it. Rates are low again. I thought they would be higher. I think we all anticipated they may go a little bit higher this year from last year.
Down a lot.
Yeah, they did. So you're seeing refis come back a lot. So for me, it being on the seller side, it's great to work with sellers, but there's a certain
you're never the hero.
I know.
You sell
With buyers, it's just you're the best. You help them buy their first home. A lot of first-time home buyers. With sellers,
if you don't sell it in a week, you failed.
Well, we had a great story about a seller we met yesterday.
Oh, he was great.
For a listing presentation, and he promised he wouldn't be a dick. And I thought that was the best thing I could ever hear.
Greatest thing ever.
Because that's what you're into right now. That's what happens, right? People are looking at the data, and the data that they look at is so far back, not necessarily the most current data, and they're saying, well, this unit sold for $600. Why are you listing mine for $550? So that's like the big challenge right now with sellers, right? So that was a great...
Yeah, I mean, last year we were circle prospecting buildings like, hey, place sold in a day. Are you looking to sell? It was a different conversation. Not that you're not trying to do it this year, but your conversation shifts a little bit like, I don't have the overflow of buyers that put 4 offers in on this one and I could take them to your place now. So now you got to kind of set the expectations with that seller that 2018 was 2018. 2019, things have cooled off a little bit. You might not get what that comp showed last year. Our buddy Owen Duffy always says this famous quote. Nick loves to say it.
The past doesn't predict the future.
That's not always. It doesn't always.
Doesn't always predict the future.
Yeah.
That's it.
So we laugh about that, but...
He's right. And you touched on a couple things. I tell everybody, obviously having more listings or less time consuming than having a ton of buyers, but you're always the hero for the buyer. And I feel it now too. There's some listings I have where I have anxiety. I'm like, man, they're not moving. Last year, these things were priced at the right price point of last year, and they're just not moving. And then you feel like you're a failure. You feel like you've let your client down, and that is a very weird feeling to have. Everybody says, you want to be a listing agent because obviously you can handle more listings than you can. 40 buyers means you can't do that on your own.
No, of course not.
You're going to go crazy. It's very, very difficult to do. You need a big team to do that. But you can have a ton of listings. It's just you're always a hero versus if you don't sell it right away, you're not.
And I think with the listings, just to touch up on that, like even now more than ever, it's important to be at your listings, whether it's someone on your team, because that feedback, that body language. I mean, setting a lockbox or keys with doorman, if necessary, you do it. But I think you're starting to see more and more people realize that you should be there because that feedback's important.
Especially in Chicago.
Yeah,
in the suburbs, they look at you like you're a weirdo when you show
God.
up. Well, the other problem is in the
Central
suburbs, they do a 1 hour window. And they show up whenever the heck they want within an hour
Yes,
window.
they do.
Whereas in the city, I feel like a lot of people show up and show their properties.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a weird dynamic.
Agreed.
I definitely agree.
I had a weird listing in the suburbs, and I was showing up to show because very, very strange. There was a dog we had to always put out. And I had one lady who wanted to do a second showing. She goes, I'd prefer you don't show up. And I was just like,
Really?
Well, I got to let the dog out, so I guess I'll show up, take the dog for a walk, and do your thing. She was just she was so pissed. She goes, we don't show up in the suburbs. I know your office is in the city. And I was like, well, again, I have to show up, so relax, lady.
Yeah.
But it's such a weird dynamic. As soon as you get in the suburbs, that kind of
Complete 360.
It's 360. Then.
Definitely.
But I agree with what you said about the market. I think, thank God the interest rates are low. Because if the interest rates had gone up and there was this cooling, I think we would have had a little bit of an issue. But I think because the rates are, the government's done a good job of, kind of keeping these rates low to influence people from buying. And Nick, you've seen the up and the down and the up.
I started in the down. Like the basement,
Yeah,
and lower than that, 6 feet under, basically.
Yeah, I was in 09 too.
Yeah, 09. So, I mean, I was just doing rentals then. So, yeah, I mean, I was going to these big high-rise, luxury high-rise rental buildings and just kind of doing that. So, what at that point when the traditional agent was just doing sales and all of a sudden the market took a shit, then you like not a fake one like John does, but a real one. The traditional agent that was doing sales was like, holy crap, what's going on? Like, my clients aren't getting approved for loans anymore because the guidelines changed, they're more strict. I was doing, rentals and doing like a $250,000 sale commission code check in like 10 minutes, right? Apply, credit report, you're good, set, on you go with the next one. So that kept the wheels moving for me, and then it propelled into this kind of website thing and kind of then, referrals and all that kind of stuff over the years. So it's been good.
I always tell everybody, every market that goes up, comes down, goes back up again. But if your
Yeah, of
effort
course.
stays consistent, you're going to kill it. I mean, you mentioned Matt Larcy. Last year he said it was good. This year it's cooled down. He's on track to do
He's
better
doing
than he
more,
did
I
last
think,
year.
on
Did his
last year.
100 million, right?
Yeah. I mean, but he's a rock star.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
He is perfect proof that no matter what happens in a market,
Just stay consistent.
if you're
yeah.
working and you're consistent,
Oh, yeah.
you're going to keep getting better. I mean, it does not matter if the market had gotten 20 times worse. I would venture a bet that Matt's business would have still gone up.
Yeah, there's going to be a
No
different
doubt
demand
about
for
it.
him, right? Like
Right.
to
And I think
handle
you
his
said a
clients.
great thing too. I don't remember if we were on the phone. We were like, if the market takes a downturn, as brokers too, we become investors.
Yeah.
You seize the opportunity to buy something if you can.
I would tell you guys, and I've done this, go back and look at top producers from 2008 through 2012. So the people who are the top producers, watch their sales figures go up in every year
Wow.
that the market got
Yeah, I gotta look
worse.
at
The weird thing is, when the markets get really bad, the people who are bad at, I don't want to say bad at what they do, but don't take the job seriously, they get out of the business. So there's just less competition out there. If you look at them, they 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, look at the top producers. All their production levels go up.
Okay.
They don't go down. It's crazy. I've
That is
actually
crazy.
taken a peek at it.
I remember
It's
Joe
interesting.
Zimmerman back in one of the first few YPN breakfasts was basically said that he's like, it was 2009, something like that. I don't know what year it was, but he was basically saying, I'll never forget it. He's like, I just stayed consistent. If I had to take credit cards and just pay for marketing to make sure I keep doing the same things I did. Yeah, his numbers dipped a little bit, but there wasn't a huge nosedive. It was kind of like a gradual, standard adjustment, if you will. So it was kind of cool to hear that. But that's basically what you're saying, just kind of stay consistent, and he should weather the storm, hopefully.
It's, I think, in any business, consistency.
Yeah.
I tell everybody, real estate is not rocket science by any stretch of the means. It's not. It's simple. It's not easy. I think the differentiating factor between simple and easy, people have to figure out. Simple means that what we're doing is not difficult to figure out, but it's not easy to stay consistent for, like you, 10 years. That's a very difficult thing to do.
Sure.
So it's simple, not easy.
Yeah.
You two guys are very different time periods not that different, but I mean, you're 10 years in, you're 4-ish years in, John.
Yeah.
So I would ask you, Nick, first, 10 years in, if you could go back and look at yourself day one, piece of advice you would give yourself as a early realtor.
Definitely would be. So basically, it's keeping keeping in touch with your past clients. Basically, is what it is. So for me, that was a big thing. I was too focused on the next lead that I forgot about what I call my fan base. Those people I know I've already met before. They know me very well. Staying in contact over and over and over again. Obviously, just there's a mathematical sort of equation saying if you keep in contact with so many people, you are probably going to get this many referrals. If I did that, we wouldn't be doing 20 million in sales. We're probably doing 50, 60 at this point or more, right? So I think that's it. Keeping in contact with your past clients would be my advice that I wish I would have done a long time ago.
I'm going to ask John to snip that out too, and I'm going to put that on our.
Yeah,
I'll send that to our agents too.
And then also, I mean, the other thing is I was doing rentals only at that time, so I wasn't making people aware that I do both. So I would get emails from past clients 2 years down the line saying, hey, Nick, can you help me sublease my place? Because I just put an offer in on a place in the South Loop. And that's what triggered me. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? The other thing was I didn't even know who that person was. So I had to look back. So that's the whole thing about keeping in contact with your past clients.
I really like that. And
That
all
was my
renters
eye-opening
become
thing.
home buyers eventually.
Eventually, yeah, at some point, yeah.
Being good at keeping in touch with them. Yeah, it's crazy because the buyer cycle is, I think in Chicago, the statistic is people buy every 5 years. Across the country, it's every 7. But obviously in Chicago, we're in an area where people buy condos and they move around a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But that's a long period of time. And in 5 to 7 years, people, somebody's uncle becomes a realtor, somebody's, girlfriend's
course.
best friends, dogs,
course,
uncle,
of course.
Became a realtor. And at some point there, if you're not staying in touch and on the forefront of their minds, you're forgotten about.
Yeah, definitely.
So great advice. And John, how about you?
I mean, kind of to piggyback what Nick said with the past client thing is one thing. You start and your best raving fans or cheerleaders or whatever you want to call them are your past clients, right? That's where you're going to get the best referrals. But aside from being kind of spoiled everyone's doing Zillow, Redfin, online leads. Nick has his own. I wish when I started, I didn't really rely or believe that family, friends were going to flock to me to help them sell their home or buy their first home. I wish I would have really started networking harder with other spheres, whether it be divorce attorneys, financial advisors, just different people in the business. I wish I would have started that sooner. I think that would have propelled me to not be as, everybody relies on some kind of online leads, but I would like to kind of get to that position where you have some good referral partners that you've built relationships over 2-3 years. Yes, I'm doing that now, but those relationships could have been 3 years along the line, and they're not. So that's something that I would have changed when I got into the industry. Instead of saying, oh, Uncle Bill's got $1 million house, that's mine. Yeah, 6%er, he's got money. No, it's not going to happen. So I started to see that, and it's like, a majority of my clients aren't even family. I don't have a huge family here, but I started looking at wedding lists. I'm like, oh, got them. And then I realized I didn't have them. Then I was like, okay, you got to start like meeting new people, and some of the best brokers obviously are like I always say Tommy Choi, like those guys I don't think are even on Zillow or anything, and they're all just word of mouth. So I admire a business like that too, and try to kind of like do the online leads, do the networking, and that way, if the market changes, you're not stuck in one place. Sure. You're able to change with it.
It's just not relying on that one lead source. You got to expand your lead generating opportunities, I guess. So getting an organic way, and then obviously the online way is also a nice little sprinkle.
You guys hit the nail on the head. I tell people you cannot be a one-trick pony when it comes to lead generation, because that could go away completely. Realtor.com now is completely gone. It's Opcity. Yeah. These things change, especially the purchase leads. Those things are going to change so aggressively and dramatically in the next 2 to 5 years. Who knows where they're going to be? And John, what you said makes a lot of sense. Have those referral partners, business owners that are going to make sure that you're helping them and they're helping you, and you're growing your businesses together. I think collaboration, we actually love it. You two obviously work together, but John and I get a lot of people in here who they don't know each other, and it's guest one, guest two, and then they meet each other, and immediately you're like, oh, shit, we can collaborate with one another. And I think business owners in general, and I think good business owners really want to help other business owners out. So they have that whole giver's gain mindset. Right. It's a great piece of advice. Get somebody or get a group of people that you want to collaborate with and network. And you're a good networker.
Well, we started like really trying to put the effort. This year was really like kind of like where we kind of said, hey, we got to capitalize on past sales and how do we meet more people. So we started doing a monthly happy hour, and it's I think 3 months in, I think we've done 2 or 3. Yeah, and if it's,
John, did you get an invite to the happy hour? Because I didn't get an invite to the happy hour.
I did not.
When's the next happy hour?
I think I'm going to be in Greece for 2 weeks. And then Nick takes 5th. his leave of absence hiatus as he does every year.
But like paid time off. You have paid time off.
So basically, we'll invite past clients. We'll invite other, like, say divorce attorneys, financial advisors. And one of the best things that we can do is we could connect them, and then we're that center point. Like, hey, John brought us together. And then when real estate comes up, hopefully we're top of mind for them as well. So
you've done that because you've put me in touch with people recently.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying to do that, and obviously it's I'm trying to give the referrals out first. I'm not out with my hand holding for a listing or a buyer. I'm just hoping that'll come around, and I think in due time it will. I think people appreciate it. That we're. If you know Nick, he's not an aggressive salesman. Neither am I, unless it's him selling Pearl Jam tickets.
I'm not selling. I'm going to the concert.
I know.
No, I'm with you guys. I'm not very aggressive. I'm not very salesy. So you have to find a way to add value without saying, hey, give me something.
Right.
Yeah, ask for the sale in a completely different way. If people listen to Rick Ruby, who's a really good business mentor, he's got the personality that'll say, I want to sell your house. Let me sell your house. And he's like in your face. If you don't have that personality, you can't do that sincerely to anybody. When you guys do it in a completely different.
It's been pretty cool actually watching this like happy hour thing kind of evolve over the last 3 months. It was like 20-some people.
Man, they watch it evolve. John and I still haven't gotten it.
Watch it. I mean, listen, this is a red carpet type thing. Like we need to see it. No, I was joking. But that's at Beatrix. But it was like 20-some people, which is still a lot for our first one. It was like only a couple week notice, and then next thing you know, it was like 56 people. I think in the last one. It was crazy. Whoa. Other attorneys never with each other. It was a cool just cool to see kind of like all those connections. So it's kind of
well, we'll wait for our invite to the next one for sure. It's what August what?
August 7th.
August 7th.
Yeah, 7th.
But you're not a realtor when you're there.
No, no,
You're an
no,
attorney.
You're an
I'm an
attorney.
You're the entrepreneur.
No,
mode.
we're Wheelhouse.
Yeah,
Wheelhouse,
yeah.
okay.
We give you that.
Wheelhouse
There you
is
go.
here.
Oh,
Want to meet other entrepreneurs to have on the
That's
show
true.
anyway.
That's actually a great
That's a
idea.
good idea.
See?
Look, we got
See?
ourselves an
See,
invite.
there you go. A new gig.
And speaking of taking time off, Nick does Nick does every year take like a 7-month vacation.
Wow.
Not
nice.
really that long, but
6
Yeah.
weeks.
you do
I only work in
vacations right though. And a lot of people will take, a week here, 3 days here, 4 days there, and it looks like they're taking a lot of vacations. You take one like
big one.
kick-ass vacation. What are you doing this year?
This year it is Greece, per usual. That this time going a little bit later, going September because we have a cousin that's getting married in late September 28th. Then, just so conveniently, the Bears are playing in London, October
cool.
6th. So I'm going to go with my wife to London for 4 or 5 days and go watch the Bears play and explore the city.
So I went to London last year for
Never
my
been, so I'm
cousin's.
excited.
It's cool,
Yeah.
but I went for my cousin's wedding, and he was down in Bath, England, and he played rugby, and he was a very good rugby player. So I was sitting at a table with a bunch of his rugby buddies, and they are incredible NFL fans.
Yeah.
They're just like,
That's cool.
I'm not a big sports fan in general, but they're asking me all this stuff about the Bears and Green Bay, and they're asking me about all these players. I'm like, geez, you guys know a lot more than I do about American football, but. It's that'll be a really cool thing to watch
Yeah, I'm
because
excited.
they're real fans.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see how that goes down
Who
there.
are they playing out there?
Raiders.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Are they in Los Angeles now? Where are they at?
Vegas. They're going to be in
Vegas.
Vegas soon.
The John, did you drive by the stadium? It was almost done when I went a
Raiders,
month
but
ago.
Vegas soon.
No.
Yeah, I got a
no,
picture
didn't.
from somebody from Vegas the other day. They're just building the stadium down there. It's pretty cool.
And they're building it fast because
Yeah.
the last time I was down there, it looked like it was almost there.
Yeah.
It's building fast. Well, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
So London and then back home.
And back home.
So how long are you going for?
Month.
Month? That's not bad.
Saying the wife's pissed. It's short. It's like, what the hell? You cut my vacation short. I came back from Pearl Jam last year. She's like, you cut my vacation short. I'm like, yeah, we've already gone for a month.
How many Pearl Jam?
50
50 shows?
on the dot.
Wow.
5-0.
Tommy's got 60, so I got to catch up. So this
But
Greece
he's going to keep going home. as
Yeah,
much as
last
you
couple
do.
of Greece trips, I missed one or two. I missed two, so that would have been at 52.
Slacker.
My sister's
So can
wedding, I
you-
missed the one. That was 53. So I'm like 7 down technically.
So do you can you like recite every
No,
every
no
song?
lyrics. No.
How?
I-
You've been at 50 concerts.
Tell them about what we're doing right now.
Whatever. Oh, jeez. So John has a client. John has a client that owns a building in the West Loop, and he also has a music school like club.
We'll plug it. It's called Altered Stage.
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
cool. You should
They
get
help
him on here.
musicians,
Actually, he's
basically.
awesome.
He's an awesome guy. We should get Jeff on here. Shout out to Jeffrey Berg.
Yeah, we'll connect them. John's great at
owner
getting
of
people
CG
on.
Life. So basically, he's a client of mine, and he met Nick too, and he knows Nick's such a huge Pearl Jam fan. And he's like, John, you should get you and Nick here at Altered Stage so you guys could take some music lessons. I was like, why would you want to do that? He goes, no, everyone's scared. I was like, yeah, everybody has, aspirations to be a drummer or this or that. So basically, their concept in, a quick 2 seconds is they take people in about a month. They'll give you like 4 or 5 guitar lessons, and they'll take you to Reggie's out in the South Loop and have you on
Perform.
stage playing your favorite song
Yeah.
of your
I'm in.
favorite band. So maybe we could recruit Mo to be a drummer.
No. I'm just got to be a singer. I karaoke.
You wanna be the
Oh,
singer?
yeah, whatever you guys want.
Okay, yeah. So we could.
I don't
Yeah,
have
I've seen
good
him sing
voice.
Backstreet Boys at a bar before.
You've seen him do that?
Oh, yeah,
yes.
Was he doing the whole bye part?
I'll
He was doing-
bye.
He
all
was
the
doing
way
it all.
around.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh man, that's something. To
I need
see.
a lot of tequila. Do they allow that?
Oh
Oh God, they were
drinking while
throwing
we're
beers in our
practicing.
face.
John, can you play an instrument?
Guitar.
You can?
Oh,
Well-
nice.
Well, it's been a bunch of years.
We've had 2
Yeah.
lessons so far, so we got a few more before we go on.
You guys will love
on
it.
stage.
Yeah, I'll get Jeff to talk
Yeah,
about it.
connect him with us. 'cause
Absolutely
that would be
will.
kinda
He's
cool.
got a cool story in general. Just in general, he'll tell you about it later.
Awesome
but,
guy.
Yeah,
So who's playing what? What are you playing, Nick?
I'm the guitar player, and he's the bass
I'm
player.
slapping the bass.
Slapping the bass.
I'm slapping it hard.
Are you two both
Mine's
singing?
so easy.
No, there's a singer that's
No.
a real singer that's had singing lessons is going to sing.
So they're going to plug us around other professionals that know what they're doing. So when we sound stupid, we won't, I don't think, but
Yeah, you will.
it'll be like a singer, a drummer, and then
Of course, it's
it'll
a
be
Pearl
Nick
Jam
on his
song. We're
guitar.
Playing a Pearl Jam song, one song, Pearl Jam song. It's it. So we were learning the same.
Which song?
They want me to learn Black. It's super easy and slow. I want to learn guitar solos. It's like not happening in a month, buddy.
Yeah, that's probably something that
I got
takes
these
a
fat
while.
breakfast sausage fingers. What the hell am I going to do with these? So
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's good team. Is it just the two of you or other
just the
people?
two of
two
us,
of
and
us.
then they have a drummer already that they have and a singer and all that kind of stuff. It'd be kind of funny.
So it's basically a membership. There are people who pay whatever it is every month, and they go in and get X amount of lessons, and then once a month they do a feature show at
Reggie's.
At Reggie's, like one was called something with Foo Fighters. They had a play on words. I can't think of it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But
I
yeah,
remember,
so they do something every month. It's pretty cool. It's a nice, unique club, and
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
and you get a lot of business people going there and rocking out right after
We're
work
doing this
or whatever.
too. We're doing a duo.
Oh
on
my
this.
gosh.
Let's do it. You can already kind of play the guitar. I can already
Kinda.
kind of sing drunk.
There you go.
We're set.
It'll be fun.
The best story ever growing up was my dad was always supportive of everything I ever did. Never told me don't do this. He said try everything. I took drum lessons and they give you like a little drum pad. I'll never forget. My dad came home and I was hitting the drum pad and he goes, "Just stop." He goes, "You're never going to be good at that." He goes, "This is just not for you." He goes, "This is going to be terrible."
That's awesome. That's
I'll
good.
never forget. He just was like, and I joke with him all the time. I was like, "What if I was a great drummer?" He goes, "You would have never been a great
That's
drummer."
what you should
He goes,
do
"I
then.
saved your time."
That's what you should do. You should do lessons with us. We'd be guitarists. They'll teach you the drums, and we'll go down there and play the
You
song.
guys have no idea how bad I am.
No, we could push this back to like September or October,
October.
and we could get you guys all on there too.
It could be
So
the-
we're all
this is the new band right here, the Wheelhouse Band.
the Wheelhouse band.
Wheelhouse band.
Yeah,
I like it.
It'll be fun.
I like it. So
All
that's
right,
good.
I'm in. So I'm excited to see all the photos from your trip.
Thank you.
And excited to see you catch Tommy Choi.
Oh, that's not gonna
on
happen.
the Pearl Jam. Somebody's got to beat Tommy Choi at something because he's now
You can't beat him
at the
or sock game. Forget his socks
Who
are
wore
on
him?
fire.
No, he's got the greatest sock game in. Do you have a really good sock game? You should follow Tommy,
Yeah,
John.
really?
And check out his sock game.
That's what you
He's
gotta
the
do.
Michael Jordan of the sock
He
game.
is the GOAT, as they say nowadays.
And then he beat me in the Who Wore It Better. So somebody has to beat him at something.
Yeah, I think it's
Something.
that. We'll
So you
see.
got to catch him on Pearl Jam.
I don't know. You might got him in the car game. Your Porsches are.
I have him on the car game.
Come on,
for
let's
sure.
be honest. You got something going.
Oh, I got him on that, I guess. I don't think he's competing in that realm.
I don't
That's
think
the
so
difference.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Unless
He's got like a
Porsches
minivan or
hiding.
something, I think.
He's got kids.
got-
Yeah.
he's
But
got
probably the
kids.
best minivan that's available.
He does.
It's gonna be a nice one.
How about you? You going anywhere, John?
I'm going to Greece on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
So I got 2 weeks. I got my nephew, my sister's little boy, are baptizing him down there. I got my friend Stevie's getting married out there too, and then I have a lot of family out there in Sparta. 300.
Spartan?
Yeah.
300 was the worst movie ever made. I'm Persian. So this is it's terrible.
Oh yeah, you
movie.
were the one who
out too well.
destroyed us.
Yeah, this
what was the
cart-
bald-headed guy? The lengthy, long-arm guy.
This make-believe cartoon movie that you guys really love.
That was a great role for Gerard Butler. He broke out. Look at all the movies he's doing now.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's
What happened to
doing.
all the Persians in that movie? Terrible.
No, so we'll be in Sparta. It'll be fun. We got family out there. It'll be a nice time to catch up with everybody.
I was dating a Greek girl actually when 300 came out, and I remember going to see it, and I was just sitting there. I was like, "This is the stupidest movie I've ever seen." She loved me. She walked out. She goes, "That movie was great." I go, "What do you?" No, that was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
I've seen it once. I wouldn't go see it 3-4 times. The best part is when
I've only seen it once too. I'll never see it again. terrible.
The trailer was good. When
Yeah.
he kicks the guy into the well,
Yeah.
that's the whole movie. If I could just keep playing that over, that was the best part of
Kicks
it.
my people into the well.
Yeah.
Damn
Yes.
it. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll be there for 2 weeks. Yeah. 14,
Very,
15
very
days. Not
cool.
too long. It'll be fun.
Yeah, everybody says right now is the best time to go to Greece because I have a lot of Greek friends,
Yes.
as we can see here. Everybody seems to go from like now through the end of September. That's like the time to go.
Yeah, I would say like August 15th. August 15th is a big Greek holiday, so people kind of like work around that. They'll go like Nick used to go like July 21st and at least stay to August 15th for that day.
Yeah.
Some people will go, mid-August to late August, but I like part of Chicago's summer.
Oh, I love
like
it.
the fest. So as much as I want to go to Greece, I don't want to miss,
Chicago summer.
some stuff going on here, but
It would be nice if it was flipped and Greece was great in our winter.
I know,
because
right?
Chicago's
Oh,
summer
Australia
is so
thing,
good.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
yeah, it is.
And the summer's just starting to pick up in Chicago.
Exactly.
Right.
It was a long winter.
Very long. Long, cold spring,
Spring,
too.
yeah,
It's brutal.
Rainy spring. What else? So you guys have your event coming up, you said August 7th?
August. What else we got coming up? Is that what you're gonna ask?
August 7th?
Yeah.
Anything else coming up for you guys?
I got some fancy new listings at it's called the Chestnut Row Homes.
Oh, wow.
There's
Look at
7
you.
townhomes in the Gold Coast. 4 of them are available. $15,000 a month. So if anybody knows anybody that's looking for that, feel free to give me a call, please.
$15,000 a month. Can you
Yeah.
give us a wheelhouse discount?
Yeah, of course. 14,999.99 repeating.
Wow.
I don't make the prices. The prices are set by the management company that owns the building and the development. So
But you stand by the prices because it's so worth it.
it is. You'll see a video coming out. I got a video. I'm shooting a video tomorrow for it. So
Very cool.
yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Good opportunity to meet some really interesting.
Total. That
very
was so awesome. And so
good
when I got the
folks.
call, it was to like interview for it. I was kind of excited for it. It was kind of cool.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We always ask, we already kind of got the recommendation for entrepreneurs and realtors from both of you. Really good advice. I don't know this about either of you. Either of you big book readers? Anything?
No, I don't. I did the questionnaire and I said, "What's a book?"
Yeah, what's a book? No, I got nothing from him. How
I
about
put
you?
NA.
NA. All right, great.
I
We
really,
don't read it.
unfortunately-
ESPN.com.
They get all their information that they need from the Wheelhouse podcast,
Yeah,
which can be
exactly.
found on Spotify, on YouTube, on
Exactly.
Switcher,
What else do we
Switch
need?
it.
on iTunes,
iHeart,
on
iTunes.
iHeartRadio, on
Yeah.
Google Play. Look at
We
that.
are
You're
everywhere.
good. You guys are
Worldwide.
Everywhere. There's nowhere you can't hear
I think
us.
the book reading thing for me is I got to read a book that of a topic that I'm superly interested in. I can't just pick up one of the. Some people read the stories, right? I can't do that. It's
can't
got
do
to be some sort of motivational thing, some sort of real estate focused thing, right? Like Millionaire Real Estate Agent and all this other stuff that just maybe some of these other like Millionaire Million Dollar Listing New York guys put out or whatnot. But it's got to be something that I really like. And even those, I bought both of those books. They're still sitting on the coffee table, haven't been opened.
Well, you don't. Do you drive around a lot?
Yeah.
because you're in the city.
Yeah,
Audiobooks
I know.
are the best way.
Yeah,
And
then-
I'll
but-
tell you a good one that's fun to listen to. That's kind of motivational, but it also tells a kind of fun story. And I recommend this to anybody who wants to first start listening to one. Is Extreme Ownership.
Okay.
It's about these two Navy SEAL kind of leaders that talk about how they take ownership of everything they do, and they kind of lead a team. For you two, it'd be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But they also like the guy has like this really deep voice, and he's like a Navy SEAL like leader, and he's now. A very big business coach, but he tells a story of like when they're at war and like the things he learned. That's a pretty cool one. to
Yeah, I
listen
should
to
check
as
it
the
out then.
first one.
Yeah, I think audiobooks probably work better for me.
Joanna's watching. Hi, Joanna.
Hi.
Hi, Joanna. Okay, cool. So no books for you guys. We got your $15,000.
That was easy.
terrible.
We got your 15. No. It's what's funny is my business partner Jeff. He doesn't read anything. He always tells me, he goes, "Read it and give me the cliff notes, buddy. I'm not a reader." Some people just don't like reading, but
that's it.
audiobooks are fantastic.
So is Netflix.
Netflix
Is great.
You know what I watch if I'm not watching Netflix? I watch YouTube, like Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh, Joe Rogan and Bill Burr, and
Yeah.
I watch all them. They're good. They're
So
fun. They're funny.
That's what I watch. Like you can take in as much information watching some podcasts. Shout out, you can take it in from Wheelhouse too. Just watching these podcasts or listening to them. So I actually at home on YouTube, a lot of times I'm listening or watching netcasting podcast. Joe Rogan's constantly. 'cause
Yeah, he's always on there. Yeah.
always got good guests from different kind of walks of life that have really good information. You learn a lot from it. And
absolutely.
It's funny. Kind of go long sometimes. What's your favorite Netflix show before we go?
Oh, I
Recent.
would probably say I've watched Narcos like
That's what I
five,
was
6
gonna say.
times. Like
That was good.
There's a lot of good ones. I like Ozark. There's a few other new ones people keep talking about. But
Stranger Things.
see, you
That's
just said it.
Well, it's the third season's out now,
Yeah.
so it's popular.
Is it that good?
Yeah, it's good.
It is.
And it's not the type. Normally, I would not be the type. It would not be the type of show that I would get into. And it took me a couple episodes to say, "Oh my god, I love this show," but I was hooked. I watched the third season in like 3 days,
Wow.
No
which
kidding.
for me is fast. So yeah, Stranger Things. How are you? Show? Do you watch anything?
Don't really have one. I mean, for Netflix, Narcos. My wife watches all the Netflix stuff, all the weird shows, The Orange is the New Black, all this other random. She's watching The Crown right now because we're going
What
to
is
London,
that?
so she's in London mode.
Yeah.
So that's about it. That's about it.
One thing for all three of you to watch, and anybody who's watching to watch, that I just took a look at, and it's a true documentary. It's called Murder Mountain. Have you guys seen that on Netflix? So it's about an area of Northwest California that exists, and it's not actors. They actually go talk to the actual people there. It's a documentary, and that area is known for growing tons of weed. And until recently, most of the farms were illegal. Some of them are still illegal. But it's basically lawlessness up there. Vigilantes. The cops don't go up there. The people shoot at the cops. So the cops just kind of let them do their thing. And they have more missing people there than any other place in the U.S. There's people who go up there to just try to work and make some money. They get killed, and then
Jeez.
nobody solves really the murders. And it's 6 quick episodes. And when you watch it, you're like, there's no way this is happening in modern day
Wow.
America. You would think maybe like South America, you might get this somewhere. You might think like someplace in Eastern Europe, this sort of thing might happen. But there's no way that this is happening in the U.S. And it's really cool to watch. It's 6 45-minute episodes and talks about this area of California. I kind of want to drive through it, but then I watched it and I was like, hell no. I was like, they don't stop me and
Yeah,
they
right.
They don't mess around. The
No,
cops-
they do not.
Cops aren't coming to save you up there.
Nope.
So that's a cool one to watch.
Yeah.
But well, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Most those has to get out and drink together again.
Here's the
soon.
thing. Like, normally I'm used to sitting on your lap and taking the picture. Like,
Yeah.
this is it's weird. I like I'm across from you at least. That's good.
We take photos at the end of the show with our guests. So this time we'll
Perfect.
do our Mostos. You can sit on my lap, and we'll just have John and John behind us. Like other
Do we
Johns.
really have to do that?
Yeah. This
This
me and
is-
him
I
have
mean,
a
I could
thing.
show you at least 4
It
pictures
goes
on my
viral.
phone
It
that
goes
I have of this.
viral. The Mostos photos.
This
he
is
just
it.
sits on my lap.
Standard stuff.
It's exciting stuff.
As
John's
Wheelhouse goes down the drain.
Yeah, Wheelhouse is
That's
about
funny.
to take off. It's about to skyrocket with Mostos. But thank you guys for
No,
coming
thank
on.
you, man.
Thanks
This is
so
cool.
much,
This is cool.
I really do think any realtor or business owner watching could learn so much from the two of you, not just from obviously what you guys have gone through, Nick, for 10 years
Yeah.
and you for 4, but from the way you two work with one another and the way you two handle your clients. I wish that people could watch you two work with your clients and work on problem solving when problems pop up.
Sure.
Because if the rest of the realtors did what you guys did, real estate would be a lot easier
Well, I appreciate
for
that. So
both
thank
sides.
you.
So thank you guys for coming on.
No, thank you again.
John, what do we got next week?
Well, next week we were going to have a husband and wife team on, but one forgot to tell the other that they had a vacation scheduled.
Whoops.
Which I just found out about. So we're not quite sure at this point.
So we're
in
back
time.
again next week. Is
Yeah,
that what
you
you're
guys
saying?
wanna come
All
back?
right.
There we go.
See you guys next week.
Perfect. Well, you're going to be in Greece.
We'll shoot
all right.
it before I go.
Yeah.
We can FaceTime. They just figured it out. It's all
Boom,
good.
FaceTime from
Yeah.
Greece. There you go.
FaceTime from Greece. Well,
We'll figure
next
it
week
out.
we will have
Yeah,
a
oh,
guest,
yeah.
and it'll still be a fun show.
Yeah.
And then the husband and
Absolutely. It
wife
always
duo, when they
is.
get back from their vacation, we'll have them on as well.
Absolutely. So we will be back 3 o'clock. It's just a mystery at this point. Who's going to be filling time?
Well, we're going to figure out it. Hey, anybody want to be on Wheelhouse? Comment in the comments section. That could get real interesting.
Oh, gosh.
But
Yeah.
thank you guys for watching. And thank you to Denise and Tim for taking the time at the beginning to come on and chat with us from Nova Scotia. That was really cool. And
That
John,
was.
kudos to you for this is becoming so seamless now, getting people on the show from all over the world.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, very,
Modern
very cool.
technology, and people love the idea of it. So, yeah, I dig it. And actually,
Awesome.
I mean, really, even if you want to do a check-in from Greece, either of you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When you're there, and just like
We love that.
just
I'm
a
in.
2-minute thing, or we'll figure it out. But
No,
it'd
that'd
be
We
be
could
kinda
be
cool.
there all for a whole hour. I don't care. I'm good.
Yeah, cool. I mean, listen, we love doing the check-ins from different places. So if
That'd
you
be
guys
fun.
are
That'd
there,
be
That
fun,
would be
actually.
kind of cool.
That would be.
John, you
Yeah.
got to do it though when your hair is not gelled.
Oh,
Before we
yes,
go,
please.
he's got this incredible hair. When he doesn't gel his hair, he
Yeah.
looks like Lloyd from Dumb and
and
Dumber.
Dumber.
It
Like
literally
Chris-
comes
No.
down.
That's why I gave you that GIF.
I know,
The GIF,
I know.
whatever you call it.
You got maybe in the comment section, post a picture of you no gel and then gel.
Well, unfortunately, you guys FaceTime me a couple times, you and the other YPNers, and
Yeah.
I didn't have my hair. I had my hair down basically. I was just, I don't know.
And I
Some
saw
of
that.
the
home
nicest
moping
bangs
around.
in the real estate industry.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
really
right.
did. Trump bangs.
No good.
Well, thank you
got it,
again,
man.
guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
I
Mo.
appreciate
Appreciate
For
it.
the
Thanks,
rest-
John.
Yeah, thanks, John.
For the rest of you guys, we'll see you next Wednesday at 3 o'clock with a mystery guest or two.
Possibly me again.
Possibly Nick again. See you guys.
In 3, 2, 1.